Hi, I'm Coach Alex Gentry, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm talking about love. And I have a quote, and that is found in 1 Corinthians 13. It says, one of the things it says about love is love doesn't seek its own. Love isn't possessive. So when you talk about love, and loving somebody, I think one of the major things to understand is that when you love someone, you have to love them in such a way that even if they decided that they didn't want to be with you, or they wanted absolutely nothing to do with you, or that from their perspective they even despised you or hated you or disregarded you, any of these sorts of things, that you were still going to be a loving person and love. Because when you love them, what you do is you free yourself and you free your mind. And when you free yourself and you free your mind, you make yourself available for love. And when you allow others to be themselves without strings, without attachment, without trying to control them or manipulate them, you allow them to be themselves. You allow yourself to do the same. You're freeing yourself. So if I'm going to give an example, I'll talk about my relationship that I had with my wife. So before I got married and during my marriage, my perspective was that if my wife wanted to leave me, if she decided she was no longer in love with me and she was going to pack it up and leave, that I had to be okay with that. And I had to live in such a way that if that's what she wanted, then I would be fine if she did it. I didn't want that to happen. You have to be willing to allow the other to be themselves. What is that quote? You have to love in such a way that the person you love feels free. I think that's what it is. No strings attached to your love. If you hate and you despise because of people say they hate you and they mistreated you and all these sorts of things, if you behave the same way back toward them, all you're doing is dragging yourself down to that level. And that is not a growth level. That's a level that's essentially stuck in the abyss. And that is a downward spiral. And you will keep sinking lower and lower and lower as long as you allow that sort of thinking to be the predominant thinking of your mind. Let's say somebody betrayed you. Okay. You can still love them even though they betrayed you. That doesn't mean that you're in love with them. And that doesn't mean that you want to reach out to them. It doesn't mean that you want to be around them. It doesn't mean any of that sort of thing. It just means that you will allow them to make their decision and to go their way and to do their thing without trying to control them, without trying to bring them under some sort of control of yours or manipulate them in some way or fight back against them in some way. Now, you should absolutely stand up for yourself, absolutely defend yourself if necessary, but you do it in a spirit of love. You don't do it in a spirit of hatred. You don't do it in a spirit of animosity. You don't do it in a spirit of wanting to get even with somebody or tear the other person down. That's not your goal. That's not who you are, and that's not what you want to be. You want to rise above that kind of thinking. You want to rise above the idea of the way that they're behaving toward you. Because when you rise above it, you're making yourself a better person. And the better of a person you become, the higher your vibe and the more attractive you become. So, love doesn't seek its own. Love is not possessive. Love is free. If my wife had wanted to leave me, she would have been free to go. So how did I live my life? I had to live, I determined that I was going to live my life in such a way that whether I was with her or without her, I would be living the same way. That freed me to be myself. And as long as I could be myself, then I didn't have any of these constraints. I didn't have the mental blocks or trying to figure out my next move or any of that kind of thing. I was just free to be me. And then when I allowed myself to be free to be me, and I was allowing her to be free to be her, that made for a positive relationship. Because she was free to do whatever she wanted to do. And that's what you want. You want the other person. You want your wife, the person you're in love with. Obviously, you want them to love you. And if you love them, then you allow them to be free. And then when they choose you and they choose to stay like she did, she chose to stay with me because she wanted to be with me. She was completely comfortable with me. She said that she loved my lips, she loved my eyes, I made her laugh. She was comfortable with me. She felt good with me. One of the things that she said to me, in fact, the night before she died, one of the things she said to me was, "I love you so fucking much." And that was after 35 years. So you have to love, again, you have to love in such a way that the other person feels free. They have to be able to make their decisions about how they want to live and how they want to be, just in the same way that you make your decisions about how you want to live and how you want to be. And when you free yourself up, when you love yourself, you free yourself. When you love yourself, you don't try to control or manipulate others. Because if you try to control or manipulate others, you're not even loving yourself. You're attacking yourself, you're wrapping yourself with bonds, you're chaining yourself, and you're dragging yourself down to the pit. You need to make sure that when you love, that you have no attachments, you're not trying to manipulate, you're not trying to control, you're not trying to hold on, and that you're okay with letting go. Let go. You don't have to hold on. Come here and let me hold on to you. Don't go anywhere. I want to hold on to you. Nah, you'll never come back. Look, if they don't come back, they don't come back. That's fine. You have to be okay with that. And that's good. And that's how you find out. When you allow a person to come and go as they please, you allow them to be themselves and they show you who they are. She showed me who she was. She showed me every day by staying with me, by supporting me, by having my back 100%, by loving me. So that is the key to love. The key in understanding love. Don't understand love as an emotion. Understand love as a behavior. There are certainly emotions that are associated with love, and there are behaviors that are associated with love. But love is largely a behavior, and it's a way of behaving. It's a way of being. Okay? And when you can get to the point where you can love the other person, even though that other person absolutely despises you, you have to be okay with that because you're allowing them to be themselves. And when you allow others to be themselves, and you're allowing you to be yourself, and you love you and you love them, and your mind is clear, your conscience is clear, your vibe is one of a superior energy. Your vibe is love. You put off love, and that's what you want. You want to be putting off love. You want to be exuding love. And that doesn't mean you walk around like hugging yourself all the time. It just means that you are in such a place, you are confident within yourself, and you understand that when you love yourself, you're not trying to control anyone else. You're not trying to manipulate anyone else. You're free and you're open. You're being yourself. You're being who you really are, regardless of whether anyone else is with you or not. So my wife died, and how did I proceed through that? And that's a long story, but one of the main components of that is that I had to understand that I am me, and I always lived my life the way that I would live my life regardless whether or not I was with her or not. Now that doesn't mean that I disregarded her, of course not. You absolutely have to care for your relationship, and you care for your partner, because that's part of what love is. But the part I'm discussing now is the part that says, if you leave, I'm okay with that. If you stay, I'm okay with that. Now, you don't say that to them. You're not going around, well, if you leave me, I'll be okay with it. Don't worry. If you want to go, you go ahead and go. You don't go around saying that kind of stuff. That's dumb. You just have to have that as an attitude. It's like, hey, I am me. I'm confident within myself. I'm going to live my life as a free individual. And if somebody wants to come along for the ride, then great. And that's what, if a woman loves you, she will. She will come along for the ride. She will stick with you. She will be with you 100% if she loves you. She will have your back. She will be your best friend. She will be your lover. She will be your companion. She will be your muse. All these things. And as long as you are loving yourself enough to be yourself without the constraints, and allowing her, which is a natural byproduct of loving yourself without those constraints, and you love her without constraints, she's going to love you without constraints. You see? So that's the component. That's where you need to get to. You need to get to the place where you can love somebody regardless of whether they love you or not. If they hate you, they hate you. Good, fine, bye. I mean, you don't have to come around me. You don't have to be with me. I'm still being who I am. I still am me, and I'm going to continue to be me, and that's it. Regardless of what anyone else thinks, says, or does, you stay focused, you stay on you stay on your mission, you stay on your purpose, you stay living the way that you would live regardless of whether anyone else is with you or not. That's where you have to get to. And then there are other things I'll talk about in my next videos about love. But I think those things are the key. I think it's the key. Love is not possessive. That's the first thing you have to get. Love is not possessive. If you're being possessive and you're trying to control the other and hold on to them and grip them because you're afraid, you have fear that they're going to leave you because you're used to people not being with you, and you're used to people leaving you and all that sort of thing. Well, that's not love, my friend. That's fear. Love pushes out fear. Love casts away fear. When you love, you don't have fear. When you love, you're confident, you're bold, you're strong, you're powerful. Love frees you. Love is easy. Okay? And in a relationship with someone that you're in love with and they're in love with you, it's easy. It's not forced. It's not something that you have to work on and struggle through, and oh, we really got to struggle with our relationship and all this kind of stuff. I would say if that's the case, then you're allowing things to get in the way of your relationship, and you're struggling through things that you've created, because love is easy. Love is like a cool breeze, and when everything is nice and perfect and easy, that's what love is. You don't have to sweat it. It just is. And that comes initially from being yourself, not trying to control anyone else. Let them be themselves, whether they come or whether they go, whether they're here or whether they're there, whether they like you, whether they hate you, whether they love you, whether they despise you. It doesn't matter. You are centered, emotionally in control of yourself. Your mind, your head, and your heart are in unison, and you continue on your path. And if the woman joins you, great, she'll come along. And then when she does, you just keep living as you have always lived. You don't need to change. You don't need to do anything, because you're already doing it. You just have to keep doing it. And together, you like one of the things that Napoleon Hill talks about, like a mastermind. When two minds come together, it's greater than one mind. Okay? Because now you have like a third mind amongst you. Her ideas, your ideas. Now you have a combined ideas. I swear me and my wife had psychic connection. And we knew what each other was thinking. And we could tell what each other was thinking, not only from across the room or in another room or across town, but from one state to the next. We would know, and we would communicate with each other, and we would talk about something, and we would say, yeah, I was thinking about that. And she'd go, I was thinking about that too. And it would just be this sort of psychic connection that just develops. So that's what I want to leave you with today. Don't be possessive. Allow the other to be the other. You be you. Carry on with your life. If they join you, they join you. If they don't, they don't. And be fine with it either way. Thanks for watching. Nice thumbs up would be great. I would appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel if you like the content. Love having you around. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Bye.